Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith. Welcome to the Grow Tent, everybody. You have found the best growing channel on YouTube, man. The place where we simplify the approach for you so everyone can learn how to grow. We make it so simple, even I can understand. So I'm going to listen and learn right now.
Woo! What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Grow Tent. We got a great episode for you today. If the camera stops shaking, what is happening? GT is too animated this morning. The camera can't handle it. All right, so we got a great episode for you today. I had an awesome question come in and said, GT, help, my seedling is growing upside down. What can I do? And I thought, that'd be a great idea for an episode because that does occasionally happen. And contrary to popular belief, there's nothing you can do when you're putting the seed up. Doesn't matter which direction you put it, anything like that. Sometimes they will just grow upside down. You likely have the taproot coming out the top of the plug and then the plant's growing down. So I thought today would be a good day to talk about how to fix that. And you have to be delicate because seedlings are weak little bitches. We all know that. And the stems on them, you can break them very easy. And if you break them, there's no going back from this. So I suggest we don't do this first thing in the morning when we're groggy and not awake. Come back in the afternoon. There's no rush on, well, there's a little bit of a rush, but not a terrible amount of rush because I know you guys check your freaking plants all the time anyway, so it's not like you're not going to notice this for 3 or 4 days. So today we're going to go over how to fix this, what you need to do, how you need to be careful, and then a couple different ways that they actually will grow out of these cubes or in the solo cup or the pot or however you have them. This will be universal on how to fix it, okay? So today we're going to be using a cube. And we're going to be using this wire tie. I have indicated half of it to be green for the plant, and then you can kind of see this chalky white residue. I use not a dry erase marker, but a chalk marker to make this white. The white side will represent it's not the best. I'm going to say the chalk marker did not take to the plastic wire tie as much as I would have liked. I would have liked to use some paint, and I don't have any freaking white paint. I got black, but I thought the white would be better for the root. So that's what we're working with today. And another nice part is I can push this through this cube material like the plant would grow through it and show you guys a few things that it does. Okay. So guys, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, watch the full video if you find any of this helpful. It's always much appreciated. I'm going to make this a little bit shorter because it's too big. That's what she said. No, she never said that. All right, so we're going to be working with this today. The likes, the comments, subscribes. Yeah, there's all much appreciated. If you want to hang out with me more, check out my Patreon. It's in the video description below. Okay, so this is what we're doing. We are going to simulate, like this is a cube that's in our tray, or this can even be your solo cup. What we're going to do, my cube's falling apart. What we're going to do whenever our taproot, let's say our plant is in here, our plant is growing out. This is way exaggerated. Your taproot's never going to come this far out, but for video purposes, it helps whenever you can see, and I'm not working with like little tiny thing down here. So we've planted our seed in here, and the plant is nowhere to be found. There's no green part to be found. All you have is white taproot coming out of the top, and usually when you see it, it's going to look like something like this, where the white is coming out, and you're like, oh crap, that's not the part that's supposed to be coming up. The green part is supposed to be coming up with a little helmet seed on it at the time. But all you see is something like this, and this is white, remember? This is white. And you're like, oh no, that's the taproot. That is not the part that's supposed to be coming out. Now, the nice part is this is super easily fixable. As long as the green part, as long as you notice it earlier, because if you wait a little bit, what will happen is this taproot will branch off and then stab back into the soil and start growing down, because eventually gravity does turn it around. But as long as you don't wait for that to happen, all you simply have to do with these cubes, or if you're in soil, it's just as easy. You can either just take these tubes, that hole is in the center, you can just take it and pull it apart like this, and since it's spongy, it's going to snap right back together, especially once you put it in the tray or put it back in the solo cup and surround it with soil. They snap back together really easily, just like that. So you can just take this, pull it out of your tray or out of your solo cup, knock the soil off of it, and then just take your fingers and pull them apart and they will actually split right down the middle because there's that pre-made hole right there. So whenever you just, nice and easy, because remember, seedling, weakling, you just pull this apart just like this. And see what that did? That exposed our messed up plant. So you can see down here, we've got our plant curling around instead of going where it's supposed to be. And then the taproot is coming up instead of going down. So now that we've pulled this apart, it's exposed the whole plant. All we're going to do is carefully grab our little seedling and pull it out. Now, we'll set that down for just a second. And what I want to do is I want to take that split and I want to open it up just a bit more to where it looks like this. Then I'm going to pick my seedling back up gently. Let me make this a little bit smaller here so it fits in. So we're going to take our seedling, white part down, and all we're going to do is open this up, set it down. You don't have to jam it down. You can literally just set this in here, turn it right side up, and then look, our cube closes back up, and then we just put it right back in the tray. That's the scenario you wish you had. You don't want to get to this next scenario whenever you didn't notice it early enough and you didn't fix it like this. But that's your A1 scenario, and that's literally all it takes to flip this around. There's no big deal to it. You can literally just pull it apart, flip it up right side up, set it back in there. Don't jam it in because you'll break stuff. And then just close it like this and set it back in your tray, and that plant will take off just fine. Now, scenario number 2. Let's say you did it. Let's say you had to go out, you planted some seeds, you went out of town for 4 or 5 days, and you didn't notice that, we're going to turn this back around the other way. You didn't notice that your taproot was coming out instead of your plant. So what will happen now is your taproot will do like we did before. It'll expand, and then a lot of times it will dive back into the soil, or it will die because when roots are exposed to air, they air prune. That's why fabric pots work the way they do. So your plant will either die if you've left it alone and not notice it, or it will actually dive back into the soil just like this. The problem with it when it does this is usually the green part down here, usually this green part has also done the same thing. So instead of just sitting down here, this green part is going to start to look for up because it grows up. That's what it's naturally going to do. So what it will do is, instead of just hanging out in the soil down here, it's actually going to stab into the material and then start trying to drive. Can we get it to go through here? No. It's going to try to drive itself somewhere through the material. Now, you have a choice to make whenever they do this. If this part has started to break through and come up out, you're set. All I would do is, you can grab a little handful of soil and cover the top of this plug while it's in the tray, or you can take it and move it to a solo cup and put it in soil. All I want to do is this white root that is exposed up here, I just want to take it and cover it with some soil. You can literally just grab a little handful of like Light Warrior or Happy Frog or whatever. You don't even have to do it to the rest of them. You can just take that little handful and cover it just enough to where the soil now covers this root here. The thing that we don't want to do is, if this root has grown sideways back into this cube and not just sitting in this hole free, and this part has grown through the cube and is now coming out, you cannot do the pull apart trick anymore. If this stuff has rooted into the cube material and it's not just sitting free in this little pre-drilled, see that little pre-drilled hole right there? If it's not just sitting free in here and it has started to penetrate in the hole, pre-drilled hole, and then penetrate, if it started to penetrate the sidewalls of the cube here, do not pull this apart. If you pull this apart, you will snap this little seedling off and it will 1000% die. So you can either cover it with a little bit of soil while it's in the tray. That is no big deal. You can just take a little handful of soil, sprinkle it on here. Don't cover up the green part that's coming up. Just cover up the top of this base with just like, you can make a little mound of soil and just whoop, just right over the top of it. And then that will protect that white root that is exposed up there, and it won't die off because white root does not like air. So it kills them. That's how they prune themselves. But if you prune at the base of it, the whole thing dies. So those are my tips on how to fix a seedling. I think it was well explained with my cube. I've made a freaking mess because this is an old cube, but a cube and my wire tie, and now that can all go in the trash. I hope you guys had a good time. I hope you guys learned something. If not, I mean, maybe hit the dislike button. I don't know. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you next time. GT.